Welcome back. Joining us for Seeds of Hope Empowering Moment. And today we're going to be speaking to Lori Schroeder, graduation coach
Coach. Hmm.
at Lebanon High School. Lori, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. So, kind of doing these videos for information purposes and education. So that's why I have you here. I know very little about this program, with the exception that it is a great program. I had the privilege of hearing some of the students that have gone through your program and that have become quite successful. So tell us a little bit about this graduation coach program. What is it about?
Okay. Well, it started out as a community initiative 7 years ago. There was actually, longer than that, there was a group of individuals from the community and the school corporation that realized that we have a problem with students not graduating. And it's across the board. It's not anything new to our district, but they wanted to do something about it to ensure that every student has the opportunity to graduate. So after looking at various programs and different philosophies, this group decided to start a graduation coaching program, which basically what my job is to identify students that have risk factors for not graduating from high school, because every 7 seconds there's a student in the United States that drops out of school. So I identify based on about 3 or 4 different risk factors, and I'm with them from freshman year through senior year. When we get together, I basically look at how things are going in the classroom. We talk about other factors that might be influencing maybe their challenges, their lack of success, and sometimes it's things that are going on outside of school that impact what happens in school. So we kind of talk through those things. Since I have a social work background, that's been very helpful in this position. And we utilize community agencies and resources as much as we can in the program.
Okay. So, and it does sound like a wonderful program, but um, I'm sitting here as you're talking, saying that you're identifying. Do you have any help? Is there a referral system? We're looking at about 900 or so students in this school.
Yes.
So how does a child, I'm not going to say qualify, but how do you know which child is going to need the most assistance?
Okay. What I do every spring, I meet with the middle school staff, mostly the counseling department, and they provide a list to me of students that have struggled that could use the extra support when they come to the high school, whether it's through maybe some core classes that they've struggled in, or discipline referrals, attendance, maybe just something that's happened at home that they might need some extra support. That's where I start. So I usually get a list of about 25 or 30 incoming freshmen to kind of look at their data and talk to parents and see what might be a good fit for the program. And then I always have a waiting list. So, if students leave, if they move, there's always someone to fill their spot.
Okay, okay. Now, if we have any parents watching this and they realize, God, I didn't know this program was available, would parents be able to call you and say, hey, my child, I think, would fit the criteria to have someone like you work with them?
That's actually happened on numerous occasions, and what I usually do is take some information, talk to the parents, and then come back and look at the data to make sure it supports the need. What I try to do, if I can't take a particular student, if I'm full, I will monitor and make sure, if I have an opening, I'll slide them in. But if I know a parent is interested and concerned about their child, I will check up on them every once in a while. It doesn't mean I can meet with them as often as my students on my caseload, but I certainly don't have a problem if a parent says, could you look at this and maybe give my kids some tips or advice. I don't mind doing that.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now, I heard you say that you're with the students from ninth grade until they graduate. and so these are let's call them at-risk youth, more or less. But what if a child came out of middle school uh, and was doing great and well on their way, but when they reached the 10th, maybe even the 11th grade, there was a traumatic incident that really reversed everything, and now they're on a decline and possibly are looking at losing their chance to graduate, or maybe dropping out. There's a possibility. Are they automatically disqualified because they didn't start in the ninth grade, or could they start at a later date?
Great question. They can absolutely start at a later date. Obviously, statistics show if we can get freshmen really engaged in school, successful in school, they have a greater chance to graduate on time. However, there's not been a year that I've been here that I haven't added a sophomore or junior. Last year, I even added a senior. That can be a challenge. It is hard to catch up after you're a little bit far, a little bit behind by that time. But yes, it's not too late. Again, I get recommendations and referrals from teachers a lot throughout the year. So I take names, and as soon as I have a spot, or maybe sometimes I'll just check in and see how a student's doing and maybe pull them in once in a while just to check. So yes, that's a good question.
And are you the only one in this position then?
I am. I
Okay.
am. And I have about 70, my caseload is about 70 students.
Wow. And those are the ones you know about then?
Yes.
So, and do you think there would be room for more graduating coaches, or do you think that's about what we need?
I think there could be more graduation coaches. I know at one point there was some talk about the middle school, if it is a grant-funded position. So
I was going to ask that.
yes, so it just really depends on the funding. The community has been very supportive of the program. We go out and speak and talk and take our students to tell, because they're the best person to talk to about the program, the ones that are in it. So if it came down to having an abundance of money and that was something the community wanted, then I think we would definitely be open to probably expanding the program.
That being said, is there a place where people can donate?
Absolutely. Most of our donations right now are going through Boone County Mentoring Partnership,
Okay.
which is the umbrella in which I'm part of. So Matt Wilson, he is the executive director of Boone County Mentoring Partnership. We do have a website. There's all sorts of information
Okay.
about the program.
Can you tell us what that website is?
I would Google BooneCountyMentoring.org,
Okay.
and it'll take you right to a page and have phone numbers and ways to contact Matt
Okay.
about any donations.
Well, it sounds like a great program to me, and I feel like we could talk a lot more about it. So we may ask you to come back on with us.
Great.
But for the time being, you heard it here. We have a program that can help at-risk youth get through graduating and get a step up and move forward. Because without a diploma, there's very little that they're going to be able to do to sustain a quality of life. So if you have extra money, call the mentoring program and donate and help these kids and help Miss Schroeder get them on a right track and graduate from high school and have better opportunities. Lori, thank you for joining us.
Thank you
And
very
join us
much.
next week. We'll have a surprise guest. Actually, we may just go talk to Mr. Wilson and talk a little bit more about your program and his. Thank you very much.